Today on our program. In the report soon on screen you can watch the continuation of the acclaimed sci-fi movie, The Maze Runner. Recently the premiere of a teen comedy, The Hero of My Girlfriend, has taken place in Almaty. See the story in Art Event. In On the Front Line we will tell you about the Natalia Saas Theatre for Young Audiences. And the hero of today's program, Master has it, is Alexander Sakharov. The movie, Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, is rolling out. The continuation of the first part of the movie, Maze Runner, is filmed in the genre of youth dystopia, based on the second book of James Deshner. The same heroes are filmed in the second part, Thomas, Teresa and Minho. The maze has been passed, but the heroes cannot relax. The mysterious and secret organization which staged the race to the bottom assigns new and deadly tests to the boys. This time they will travel into the hot desert and meet with victims of an incurable disease, which causes a violent temper and unpredictable behavior. The film was again made by Wes Ball. The film's budget amounted to $34 million. Casting: Dylan O'Brien, Kea Scodelario, Natalie Emanuel, Thomas Sangster, Aidan Gillen and Catherine McNamara. Recently, the premiere of a youth comedy, The Hero of My Girlfriend, took place in Almaty. The movie is a Kyrgyz production, filmed by the young director Ruslan Akun. The starring actors are Aliya Telebarisova from Kazakhstan and Kyrgyz actors Zhenish Kangeldiev, Adilet Aziev and Oybek Aitbayev. The plot revolves around a young man who is trying to woo a girl. Having become her best friend, he always gets rid of her suitors, pointing out their shortcomings, thereby removing all competitors. But suddenly a perfect man appears, whom the main character falls in love with. One day, Ruslan Akun, the director of this movie, wrote an email about Kanike's role in the film, Hero of My Girlfriend. I gladly agreed because I saw his first film, Salam New York, and I really wanted to work with him because I believe he is a very talented and promising director. The film is a comedy and is very good, positive and light. He tells us that we should always be ourselves, be honest and noble, and he tells a story of love. My character, her name is Kanike. She is very good and very bright. She is looking for sincere love. The protagonist, Zhenish, also the name of the actor, tries to stop her any way he can because he is in love with her in secret. Throughout the film, the director shows that you should not lie. You do not need to pretend to be someone to achieve your goal. You have to be always honest so that people can believe you. We should always be honest. I think the audience will love this film. The creators do not hide the modest budget of this picture, which amounted to only $75,000. On the contrary, it has not prevented them from producing the movie at a high technical level. Initially, the film's producers did not plan to release the movie in Kazakhstan, but the film was very well accepted in Kyrgyzstan, after which it was decided to show the film in Kazakhstan. I proposed the idea to the director. I told him there was such an idea to do a comedy, a kind of instructive comedy. The filming process lasted about 45 days, in April and May of last year. By summer we had already finished filming, and from summer to autumn we edited and added music and sound, and completed all the processing. Children's theatre is a special body where children can meet the magic of the theatre. Actors in children's theatres are special people who do not have the right to falsehood, even for the smallest one, because a child is an unusual spectator who is sensitive and sees with his heart and soul. Today we will tell you about the Natalia Saas Theatre for Young Audiences in Almaty. The name of Natalia Saas is a landmark not only for Russian and Kazakhstan, but also for the fans of theatrical art around the world. She was the first one who created a theatre for children in the Soviet Union in 1945. The most important thing in our theatre is our company and the great directors who work with this troupe. It is not so big, only 45 people. But it is versatile so that the actors of the theatre know how to sing, dance and do all sorts of acrobatics. This is important because they work with children, and it should be interesting for the children. The children's play should have dynamics, brightness and musicality. It is also welcomed here well. We are very proud of our actors, Tatyana Tarskaya, Valery Krymsky, German Bogdanov, Lyubov Boychenko. These are our leading figures who have given many years to the service of children's theatre and continue to work in it. Youth theatres always choose their repertoire very responsibly, educating its young viewers by the best works of literature and drama, including classical ones. The repertoire has always had and still has works by Pushkin, Griboyedov, Chekhov, Gogol, Gorky and Tolstoy. It is very difficult to play for the children and to try to interest them. All the performances are built around contact with the audience. Besides the talented troupe, which is very fond of the audience, it is very important to select a good repertoire. The repertoire must interest the viewer, and the viewer should feel right at home, as if they are reading a book at home with mums and grandmothers. They come to the theatre and they feel that it is home from their childhood. They come to us as to a friend. That is the main task of children's theatre, and that's why many generations have grown up in this theatre. Perhaps it has become a family tradition to go to the theatre, to love it and feel that it is necessary. Many generations in Kazakhstan who now live outside the country remember and love our theatre. The theatre has its museum, which has carefully preserved its history. The costumes of famous performances, unique photos and posters. When the theatre was 60 years old, there was a need to create a museum which would be available to the viewer. Therefore, it was created in the theatre building. The history of the museum is created by the history of real people. That was our goal, so that we could reflect the fate of all the actors and directors, as well as their performances. We see that our task is to contribute to the education of the younger generation of Kazakhstan, which will be able to live in peace, of which they themselves are the creators. We believe that working for the future is the main goal. We will continue to go forward and will always do our best to interest our young viewers. Especially for them, this fall we are performing the musical Beauty and the Beast. And for the older generation, we are planning to perform the musical Man of La Mancha. We also plan to stage Eugene Onegin. This is one of the most difficult works, but the most interesting one. We think we can surprise any of our viewers. For 70 years of its existence, the theatre has not squandered its noble principles and beliefs. And the purpose of the theatre, to which it has aspired, is its foundation, to educate the younger generation in honesty and generosity, honesty and integrity, and the ability to understand and feel beauty. Today in the category Master Has It, we will tell you about a young, talented photographer, Alexander Sakharov. Alexander was born in Karaganda, was educated as a psychologist, and has an art school background. Alexander is one of the leading photographers of many famous glossy magazines about fashion and style. His work is always characterized by a certain theatricality and a unique artistic style. Some critics call the style of Alexander's works the theatre of photography, because he does not just make shots as a director, but he creates a little performance. I, as a theatre director, do not film a psychological portrait. I do not film the essence of a man. I make the fantasy that I see through this man. Who do I see? What can I create out of him? Model as clay or as stone, with some original form, I transform. I can walk and run in the peonies, and I suddenly realize that I want to film something like a peony. It can be makeup, it can be a dress or peonies, painted on the face or body. Any item can be a source of inspiration. I can see a zebra skin and want to stay in a safari, or girls in the image of a zebra, or girls in the zebra or tiger skins. Absolutely every detail can give birth to a number of associations that can develop into filming. Our hero has always been very responsible for preparing to film, watching the corresponding movies, studying photography, and collecting materials for each conceived image. The next stage of work is the selection of the models most suitable for the realization of the idea. Why is there always a man in my film? Because I told you before, I direct. It is impossible to direct nature. Only a living person. I cannot control nature. I cannot decorate it. But to decorate man, now that's what I am wondering. The most important task is to make the selection of a creative team. The costume designer, hairdresser, stylist, props. Then, when the team is assembled, we start discussing the details, finding the necessary props, sewing costumes, the choice of the suitable location, because filming doesn't always take place in the studio. Further, photographing and photo processing takes place. The main work of the model lies in the fact that I work with her for associations. I live through associations, so I work with a model, that is, I ask her to introduce herself as someone or think about something specific. If you need a model to look young in pictures, she should think about children, about babies. Then her features will be straightened, eyes begin to brighten. The person begins to represent what their brain thinks of at that moment. In my opinion, the main thing for a photographer is the exact knowledge of what you want to film and how you want to do it. I think that's the most important thing in the profession of the photographer.